comfortable chair, man, let me tell you. Very nice chair. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Bonjour. Well, because, honestly, death. I did not know how much longer I'm going to live. Not to sound morbid or anything, but I just thought it was important for me to communicate in my own words some feelings I had about life, growing up in New York City, my experiences in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, what that was like. I feel like it's important for me to communicate, in my opinion, the truth of my own experiences, so that in the event that I leave the planet unexpectedly, there is something written in my own words that communicates my thought and feelings, so that maybe people will have a better understanding of what it's been like as an artist, as a man, as someone who has struggled with drug addiction like many people do, so that when people read the book, maybe they will feel less alone in the world, because I want to create a dialogue and a communication that brings the reader in direct contact with me. And there's no level where I am above, but we meet on equal ground. So I thought it was important to communicate something in humility, honestly, and maybe not so pretty the way things are painted in media. Because in media, things are painted so pretty. And my story is not doom and gloom, but it's also not tinsel either. You understand? Yeah.
You talked about
The genesis. Yeah, first 18 years of my life, I lived in Brooklyn. I moved around a lot because my home situation, my family situation there was a lot of fragmentation. There was some time in foster care. My experience as a child was very nomadic, like nomad, moved around a lot. So to answer your question, my roots, Brooklyn, New York. Though when people ask me nowadays, Robert, where are you from? I say to them, where I'm from does not exist anymore. Because if I go to New York City now, I'm a tourist. Because I grew up in New York City in 1970s. It's 2015 now. It's a very different world, man. And I look around like, whoa, what happened? You know? So. When I was in school, in junior high school, I had a teacher. She was an English teacher. And she saw that I was having difficulty concentrating in class. She taught drama as an elective. And so she invited me into her class because she thought it might help me focus more. And I enjoyed it. I had fun performing. I had no intention or plan to be an actor. It was not something that was on my mind. It just was something I enjoyed doing. And I found that when I was fantasizing, using my imagination, my classmates were affected by what I was doing. And it made me feel good, that I could finally do something and feel good about myself when I'm doing it. And then after this, I was encouraged by the same English teacher to audition for a school in New York City called the High School for Performing Arts. I don't know if you remember, the film came out in I think the 70s or 80s. Alan Parker directed it. It's called The Fame. It's based on the school. So I auditioned for the High School for Performing Arts. I got into this school. And then I became friendly with a man named Anthony Abeson, who became a surrogate father to me, who was also concerned about me and wanted to help inspire the creative side of myself to manifest, so that it might lead me into a direction that is more productive than the destructive path I was going down. So he was very instrumental, I think, in not only giving me confidence and inspiring me, but I also think this man saved my life. Yeah. Well, I'd like to believe it does. We all like to believe many things. I have faith in the film. I have faith in Kenny Gage and Devin Downs, the writers and directors of this film. It's probably the first time that I've been allowed to participate on the creative level to such degree. And because of that, and it was written with me in mind, or at least the character that was created for me, I think some of the impressions that both the directors utilized from meeting me were integrated into how they created this character. I think, us being friends, them knowing a little bit about my past and the inner workings of my psyche and how I feel, I think helped them to channel a certain aspect of character into the part. So it was, I guess, in a sense, tailor-made for me, which, it's very unusual in Hollywood and in a competitive field that I'm in, where they write something for you in mind. It took, 30 years for me. Let's see, I've been acting professionally for almost 30 years. So it took almost 3 decades finally to be in a situation where I met 2 men who were brave enough to allow me to play the lead and write something with me in mind and carry the film. So I'm grateful for this, and I have a lot of faith in the project, and I think it's going to make impact. My relationship to horror films. I was traumatized by them since a child, but I also had morbid curiosity with horror films. I think the film that impacted me the most when I was a child was The Exorcist. This is a legendary film made by, I can't remember the director's name, I should know, but all of a sudden it just escapes me. William Friedkin, great director of a film called The Exorcist in the 70s. I saw this film in the theater. And after I saw this film, I was convinced the devil was after me. I could not sleep. I like that question. That's an intelligent question. Not to say that the other questions you asked are not intelligent, but I appreciate that question. In fact, I like that question so much. Would you mind repeating it again? Because it's rare that I hear a question like this.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, it's not that complicated a process, at least for me. It's not that complicated for me as a process. I think I just remove. The first thing I do is I don't judge the character. There's no judgment present in the way that I observe what's presented in front of me. I just see a human being, and I also remove pretense. There's no pretending. So when I read the story or the character's life story, I find elements in the story that I can either relate to or that I can authenticate. And so you asked me about discipline. I guess the discipline is that I embrace the character completely, and I humanize the character. I don't see the character as a monster. I don't see the character as bad guy. I see the character that has ideas, life story. I try to understand the story, see if there's something in my own life that I can relate to, and then I make it my own. And through this, the emotion or the manifestation just occurs. I think growing up, a lot of men and women experience confusion. Some do. At least it's been my experience. The way I grew up is that a lot of young men and women suffer identity crisis, and they don't always have ways to communicate their frustration or their conflict, whether it's conflict with their family, conflict with society, conflict with whatever, religion, it can be anything. And so for me, at least, the communication of the illustration in the ink was a way to release a lot of my frustration and a lot of the conflict I experienced when I was a young man. And it also communicates various mythologies, Greek mythology particularly, that I enjoy and wanted to celebrate in an art form. So in that sense, it was cathartic because it was a way to, I think, the most productive way, the most artistic way, without destroying someone else's life, I found a way to release this conflict through art rather than through crime or conflict. I would suggest to any young person, and I will quote a film. I can't remember the name of the film. I think Will Smith played a father, and he looked down at his son, or he looked at his son and said to his son, and this is the advice I would give to any young man or woman who's in a situation where they're being told something and what they're hearing makes them feel small, or makes them feel bad, or makes them feel that their life has no value. I would say to them not to let anyone, whoever it is, family, anyone, tell you that you cannot succeed at something. And it's interesting that in this film, Will Smith plays the father, and he tells his own son, don't let anyone ever tell you that you cannot succeed at something.
Not even myself.
And not even me, exactly. The paradox about dream is that dream is not something tangible that you can touch. But the paradox is that if you believe in it hard enough, it manifests into something that's tangible. That's the paradox of dreams. Because my whole life, since I'm a little kid, everybody tell me, Robert, you're never going to be able to do anything. Oh, you're tattooing yourself now. You'll never accomplish anything in your life. I lost track of all the experts in my life that predicted my doom and telling me how I should live my life. And in retrospect now, I'm not angry at them. I'm just grateful that I trusted my own instinct, because none of what they communicated, nothing of what they communicated has manifested in my reality. They were all incorrect in their observation regarding my destiny. So, I would say to anyone, just trust your dream, trust yourself, and have courage. It takes tremendous courage to stand up against the masses when you feel outnumbered. It's okay when you feel alone. You still have to trust your instinct and be brave enough to move through the group, because there will be many people standing up against you, saying, no, you cannot do this, you cannot do this. I would just say, put earplugs in, not listen, and just go forward anyway, regardless.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you. And I appreciate your questions and your time you take, and I appreciate all the gentlemen here assisting this process and all the people that have come here to say hello. Thank you.
Thank you.